Coming to you live from deep within an icy, radioactive meme land. We are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse, the few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the froggy hordes with Rantzerker 76. Hillary's girls gone wild. I'm gonna do it. Go, Hillary. Go.
Oh, fuck me. Why did you? I can't stand that woman's voice. It is like nails on a chalkboard, and we get to listen to it today.
Yes, we do.
You make me so happy, Allison.
I'm sure I do. I can feel it. I can feel it when you say that.
Uh-huh.
I can underneath the contempt and the searing resentment, I can feel the strains of happiness.
I would rather be getting a bone marrow biopsy right now. So you know.
Oh man. Okay. Why don't we just get it over with?
All right. Let's
peel off the
rip
toxic...
the scab off
All
fast.
Right. Let's do it. In Châtelet, my sisters.
Despite all the challenges we face, I remain convinced that yes, the future is female.
I
what
hear
the
you.
What?
I know. She sounds so smug. Like, yes, the future is female.
What the fuck does that even mean?
That means that I guess men don't matter, and women are going to take over everything. And and this is the thing, right? Because you remember Hannah Rosen and her book, The End of Men, or whatever the fuck, and the Rise of Women. Okay, and she raised a lot of important points in that book and in the talks she's given based on it and all of those things, right? As far as men are struggling right now. Like, men are having not the best time. Like, it's not a great time to be a man in the West right now. And you could almost forgive her for writing a book with that title, The End of Men and the Rise of Women, or whatever it was, right? If when she talked about it, she didn't sound so fucking smug. It's like she's reveling in the downfall of men, right? I mean, like, there are plenty of people like Suzanne Venker and Helen Smith and all of these other women who are talking about the same things, maybe even using the same words or digging in and finding the same underlying problems, right? But the Suzanne Venkers and the Helen Smiths of the world are like, yeah, and this is actually a problem. This is like serious. And the women like Hannah Rosen and Hillary in this are like, isn't it just wonderful, right? That's the main difference that I see is the smugness. It's like this contempt for men are losing, you fucking losers, and you deserve to lose, and
lose. Okay, all right, yeah. No, I just wanted to add to that. I actually find this sort of scary, because if this does happen, and it happened in Rwanda, so it's the idea that there might be a genocide, particularly between two different groups of men with two very different. I mean, with Rwanda, it was basically two almost identical ethnic classes, but I mean, two different groups of men with two different ideologies who both regard each other as subhuman, and then do battle over this. And then we end up in a situation in Rwanda where mostly it's just women left to do the politics. And it occurred to me after just thinking about it, I wonder if, I don't know if that's what she's trying to set up, but it's possible, because gendercides invariably affect men, not women. So if we do get to the point where this ideological conflict between right and left gets to civil war, we are going to be looking at a situation where the future is female in the most horrible way possible. And and then after that, what happens after that when women like Hillary and Hannah Rosen need somebody to fix the fucking plumbing? And I get even darker. Now, this is like really paranoid, dark, Alex Jones conspiracy shit. But there is a way to induce a class of women who will serve, who have a service identity. You just have to rape them before they, between the ages of 7 and 10. And you will get that kind of a service identity. because this is what I've noticed about women that I've talked to who have experienced sexual abuse by other women, is that they run from being female, and they run into this wanting to prove themselves physically, wanting to prove themselves through service, wanting to prove themselves through their actions, almost invariably. So that it is possible that the pieces are the sinister pieces are sort of fitting into place when you consider the good rape scenario, so that we'll have like this feminist dystopia of these upper class women and this lower class group of women who I guess will be the stronger ones, or the ones who are more masculine starting out, who are essentially induced into a service identity by having been raped between the ages of 7 to 10. Wow, the future is female, and it's wonderful.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stress that's sort of in the realm of extreme speculation. At this point,
Well, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying that is a possibility, that they could construct a society like that, and they could replace men with women who they've induced a service identity into through sexual abuse or other forms of extreme abuse. I mean, it's possible. That's something we could look forward to. I mean, because the thing is that these women are not going to do the work, right? They're not. They're not going to clean up the sewers.
The Hillary Clintons of the world aren't going to get up in a cherry picker and prune the fucking trees away from the power lines?
No, they're not going to do that. They're going to have to find a group of people to do that. And where are they going to find that group of people aside from other women? So they're just going to create another class system with them on top and women they regard as, inferiors on the bottom.
There you go.
And it's not going to be a sisterhood. And considering how...
It's going to be politicized mean girls.
Yeah, it's going to...
Yeah, no, it'll be queen bees and wannabes. Like, that'll be the new governmental structure.
You go, Glen Coco.
Yeah, I know I was going really dark places with that. I'm not saying that that's likely. In fact, I don't even think that necessarily any of this is likely. Hopefully not. Although I will say that it is all something that I have seen in history. I'll put it that way. So it is not outside of the realm of human possibility that such a state could be constructed and work. In other words, we start with the stage one, which is inducing an ideological conflict between men, resulting in a series of gendercides that target men, and men exclusively, reducing the male population significantly. Oh shit, I'm giving some people ideas now. They haven't had this idea already. And then you follow that up by structuring a society to artificially induce a service identity in the class of women who you regard as your inferiors. And from what I've seen from history, at some point, people will just accept this as the new normal. And it'll be horrific. No. This is not going to be, it's not going to be a benefit. It's never, ever a benefit for women as a whole to talk about a future without men.
No.
It's not. It would be horrific. If that actually happened, it would be horrific. And it would be horrific in exactly the way that I outlined it. It would be a dystopia of epic proportions. And, okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Are we ready? Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
I hear you, Hill. Hillary Clinton just released her first video statement since President Donald Trump's inauguration. And to sum it up...
Whoa, Karen, before you stop talk, because the thing is that the echo is really bad. Yeah, so you're gonna have to wait for me to tell Brian to stop, and then you can talk. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This fucking video is so fucking retarded. Like, I just wanna... Who run the world, girls?
Well, if you run it, then stop complaining that you're victims of it.
That's right.
One or the other, ladies. One or the other. Choose. Choose it. Choose. Because you can't have both. You're either victims of the world or you run it. And I'm okay with you saying you run the world. Well, if you do run the world, I have some words, some choice words for you about certain responsibilities and obligations that you need to adhere to as the individuals who run the world, as girls. And I think that you're falling down in a lot of cases. A lot of cases, like absence of equal shared custody for men in the advent of divorce. You girls, you fucked that one up. Really. The conscription, you fucked that up. War, you fucked that. Genocide. Jesus fucking Christ, girls, you really fucked up the world. We need words. We need to have some words. Okay.
Words. More
best,
words.
the best words.
What Queen Bee said. In a video made for the Makers Conference taking place in California.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, I find it interesting that she called her Queen Bee, since Queen Bee is actually a colloquialism for the bitch at the top of the hierarchy who essentially prevents other women from actually climbing the greasy pole.
We're not doing Rantzerker.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It also suggests that women have a hive mind. At least that
Doesn't it? Yeah.
It does.
Okay, well, here's my question now. Now, I set this all up, so it's all my fault. But is there an original of this address that we could have been looking at?
Yeah, I think so. Fuck, where was it? I don't.
Because I couldn't. Okay. Let me just continue, Brian.
All right.
Clinton reminded women they are the heroes, history makers, and glass ceiling breakers of the future. The former Democratic presidential nominee also praised the Women's March on Washington and the sister marches that happened across the nation and around the world. She ended her...
Go ahead. Karen.
She praised them for wearing pussy hats and holding signs saying, "If our tampons are taxed, then men's razors should be taxed," which they are. So they're complaining, "Give us what we already have."
These are the people who run the world. Seriously?
I know. It's like, I'm completely, and anybody who wants the lowdown, at least in terms of the UK, on the whole razors versus tampons issue, I would suggest that you go to Noel Plum 99's channel, and I'll give the link to the particular video. I'll ask Brian to put in the low bar of this. But essentially, tampons already, they are subject to a value-added tax, just as every manufactured product is, including toilet paper and diapers and stuff in the UK. Toilet paper, which is arguably a necessity for personal hygiene for everybody in the UK, is taxed at 20%. Tampons were classed a few, maybe 10 years ago. They were reclassified as a luxury item because there is actually, if they fall into that category, there's a greater leeway
all
in
the
terms
challenges
of the actual percentage of tax you are able to apply to them, right? So instead of being taxed at 20%, they were reclassified as a luxury item so that they could be taxed at a mere 5%. So razors are taxed at 20%, toilet paper's taxed at 20%, diapers are taxed at 20%, right? Tampons are taxed at 5%, and it's like this entire struggle to get this lower rate of taxes on tampons, right? That all went down the feminist memory hole because now they're coming back and complaining that tampons have been classified as a luxury item and are therefore subjected to unfair taxes as luxuries.
But that's in the UK.
That's in the UK. In Canada, in the United States, toilet paper is taxed. Kleenexes are taxed. I would argue that when I'm having hay fever, Kleenexes are absolutely 100% necessary for my personal hygiene and the personal health and safety of every single member of the public who comes within 150 feet of me, right? Sneezing my ass off, right? All of those things are taxed at the normal rate. Tampons are taxed at the same rate. Oh my goodness. It's all taxed. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, all of these things that everybody uses that are necessary for their personal health and hygiene, all taxed at the same fucking rate as tampons.
Oh God!
And they're acting like men aren't paying taxes on fucking razors to shave their faces.
I'm just flashing back to that Ashley Judd speech.
Oh my God! My blood stains on my bed sheets.
This is my pants and blood stains on my fucking feet. Oh God!
We can't choose when we have our periods. Oh, big fucking whoop.
Ugh.
Just fucking buy yourself a Diva cup and just
Get on with it. All right. Let's get on with it, Brian.
Let's get on with it.
She ended her statement with this powerful message.
Never doubt that you are valuable and powerful and deserving of every chance and opportunity in the world.
I don't know about
Okay, wait. No, you're not. Jesus, this is what's really annoying. Is you tell boys you're the responsible for being, I don't know, your little demon's responsible for hell, and you're afforded this whole bunch of shit just by being a little boy. And by the way, you also have to earn value.
Well, don't forget,
because you don't have it innately.
Don't forget that
Yes.
women are the primary victims of war. Because
but the whole freaking rhetoric is around women deserve every opportunity, every chance, all of this stuff because vagina, right? And men get this, and they say that men get this stuff automatically just because penis, when in reality, men don't get that automatically. Men have to earn it, right? They don't just automatically get every opportunity. And nobody's telling men that they deserve every opportunity. You deserve it. You know, like, just fucking look at advertisements. You know, like, my dad, he used to, like, make a barfy face every fucking time this one commercial came on TV. And it was for L'Oreal hair dye. It starred Sybil Shepherd. It was back in the 80s, right? And she would be like, oh, you know, it costs a little more, but I'm worth it, right? And he would just, like, stick his fingers down his throat and make gagging noises every time that, like, I'm worth it, I'm worth it. Why the fuck are you worth it, bitch? What have you done, right, to be worth the extra, like, I'm worth it? Like, who even says that? I'm worth it.
Well, somebody who doesn't have to earn anything to be worth it. That's the funny thing is you tell girls, no, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to work. You're just by virtue of existing. And then you tell them that any resistance that they find is a result of someone else's hatred towards them, not the result of, you know, it's difficult to do difficult things. Duh. It's difficult to do anything of note, and you're going to find a lot of resistance. It's not going to be because people hate you or don't want you to succeed as a woman. It's because it's difficult. And if you're actually doing something radically different than what is already in existence in society, you're going to find even more resistance. So if you're actually doing something that will be regarded as a great achievement, usually that means you're going against the grain, that you're swimming upstream, which means that your resistance is going to be huge, enormous, painful, difficult. And it's not going to be because you're a girl or a woman. It's going to be because you're doing something that people will innately, instinctively reject because it's different. So if you want to achieve anything, you're going to have to deal with resistance. You're not going to have to, and saying that the resistance itself is wrong, focusing on the resistance instead of what you're accomplishing and what you're trying to do.
I'm saying it's because you're a girl.
It's going to guarantee that you never achieve anything of note.
Well, what
if you insist that girls exist in this vacuum of ease, and that any lack of ease is not something that they need to dig in and fight through, even if it does seem like it's sexist or it's because you're in an occupation where it's not typical for you to be in. If you focus on this idea that society needs to make everything easy for girls, then they will achieve nothing. Because the only people who achieve anything are people who do something despite it being hard.
what I found interesting, it was probably about a year ago. There's a website devoted to sort of like you join, and one of the things they do is they help people who write code. Essentially, they do practice interviews with them, and a lot of it is what they call whiteboarding, right? So essentially, you're sitting in your living room or your office on one end of the country, and the person interviewing you is sitting on the other end of the country, and they're asking you to write some code that'll do this, write some code that'll do that, right? And you're doing that as part of your interview. Now, they started this sort of program for free, where prospective coders who were looking at, interviewing for jobs in the near future could come in and practice, right? And they would be given evaluations, and, here's what you can improve, and here's how you did, and all of these things. And they wanted to uncover the extent of the sexism in the job interview process for coding. And so they actually gender blinded the evaluators, and they used voice synthesizers on everybody. So whether you were they had some men who were talking naturally, some women who were talking naturally, some men who were made to sound like women, some men who were made to sound like they'd been altered to sound like men, and some women who were made to sound like men, and some women who were made to sound like they had been altered to sound like women, right? So they had this whole gamut. And what they found was that women were not discriminated against during the interview process. And the reason why, what they found was that if women are not getting hired, to the extent that, you have women graduating, 25% of the people graduating are women, but only 10% of the people being hired are women, right? They found that it's because after the first poor interview, right, women overwhelmingly were the ones who dropped out of the process, right? Like, women didn't do any more poorly, really, in the interviews than men did. But when men did poorly, they kept with the program, and they, tried to make improvements, and they tried to get better at the whole process, right? Whereas women, the number of women who dropped out after the first bad review or the second bad review, it was like that makes up for that's the entire freaking disparity between the percentage of women graduating and the percentage of women being hired.
And that's what they're setting women up to with this bullshit, like you're worth it or you're valuable or whatever the fuck else. No. Any
difficulty, any rejection that you get is because of sexism, right? Because you change your sex, right? All you can do is drop out or subject yourself to more sexism. So by having this narrative in tech that female coders are discriminated against, right? Of course, if you do poorly as a woman in an interview, you're going to think, well, this place is sexist, so I'm not going to reapply, or I'm just going to freaking give up and I'm going to do something else.
And it's basically a self-supporting cycle, race to the bottom. You teach girls that they're worth it, and any resistance is not their fault. It's because people aren't recognizing their innate worth. It's not because you're a bad interviewer. It's because the interview. It's not because you're a bad interviewee. It's because the interviewer is sexist. So there's no point actually trying to become a good interviewer, because you're worth it, lady. You're already a great interviewer. So don't listen to that criticism. Don't get better. And it's just a simple feedback loop. Women fail to achieve
self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's a self-fulfilling. They fail to achieve because they think that any criticism and any resistance is invalid, rather than being a valid way of improving themselves. And it's infuriating to watch this process happen, because you see these powers that be, this media, this all this shit. You see it, and you see them setting it up to end up being exactly what they need to justify their own bullshit. So they set women up with this nonsense about being worth it, about being valuable. You're not valuable until you produce.
Well,
And
what got me too is that in this little study that they did, they said that it really didn't matter how well relatively the women and the men performed. If they got a review that was not overwhelmingly positive, women were much more likely to leave. And men who got really shitty reviews stuck with the program. Men who got really, really, really crappy feedback, they were just like, oh man, you fucking suck, right? Like they stuck with the freaking program.
yeah, and the one thing that is the essence of genius and achievement is the one difference between someone who becomes a genius in a particular area or field and someone who just ends up being a hobbyist. The one difference is the genius always seeks out where they are poor. Their performance is poor, and they seek to improve that. That's it. So what happens is you tell men, it's up to you. It's up to your own actions. You have no value. None whatsoever. You have negative value. You've got patriarchal value, which is negative value, strangely enough. And that means you start with a negative sum. You start with all of these impulses and the socialization to be an evil fucker. And you got to earn yourself out of that hole. And the only way you do that is through your actions, through becoming a better person. You tell that to boys, and when they encounter that first wretched interview where they're saying, well, you basically suck, you suck so bad, I feel like your grandchildren suck too. I mean, the amount of suck that you did on this interview, boyo, was so bad. It's going to affect your grandkids. And they will dig in and they will fight and they will work at it. They will internalize that criticism and say, I got to improve. And what will a woman do? Oh, the interviewer is sexist. Oh, I can't improve because it's all a matter of making this outside locus of control, making the interviewer recognize my innate worth. How do you do that without improving your skills? How do you get someone else to recognize your innate worth? I guess you join a feminist protest.
Well, and one thing too, because I've heard, I've read some papers and stuff and some research that says that women tend to internalize their failures more than men, and men tend to externalize them. But, okay, I have to wonder, right, if men externalize their failures, right, are they how are they externalizing them, right? Because when you're internalizing it in the sense of, well, my failure, I failed because of my vagina. I failed because of this thing that I can't change, right? As opposed to, I failed because I suck, right?
Which is a choice.
I can change and improve so that I don't suck, right? So, or I fail because this guy thinks that I suck, or this guy has criteria that are too high, or whatever, right? Maybe they externalize it and they're like, well, that guy just doesn't fucking like me or whatever. Well, I'm going to fucking prove to him I'm going to get the job anyway, right?
Or maybe they say that this is a standard. This is an external standard that I have to live up to. It doesn't necessarily mean that, I don't know.
That you're internally inadequate.
Well, here's the thing: when you say that women have innate value, what you'd set women up to do is constantly expect other people to grant them. Like, that's the most externalized form of value, or it's not internalized; it's externalized. It's not based on your actions or the things that you do.
You're teaching them to internalize it, as in, I deserve respect for my internal reasons. I deserve, opportunity for, and therefore and so it's attaching this idea of getting respect and getting opportunities and being successful and achieving with a primary part of a woman's identity, right? Which is her femaleness, right?
But in essence, that it frames all female achievement as something granted to them through their female value. So through how society values them as females. It's such a regressive bunch of bullshit.
Weird. It's fucking weird.
It's fucking weird. It's like you all your value is granted to you by society by virtue of having a vagina. Like, and I don't even know why women don't clue into that. Like, why isn't there? Well, maybe they're just quiet. They're just like, they just roll their eyes and get on with their lives. Maybe there's a huge body of women who just rolling their eyes at this bullshit.
Oh, my grandmother, like anytime feminism came up, she'd be like, isn't there like work to do? What are these ladies on about? Like, there's work to do, right?
Yeah.
There's things to be done, right? There's stores that need to be, the shelves need stocking, the doors need unlocking, the books need tallying up, right? The kids are coming home for lunch. My grandmother ran a general store and was postmistress of her town. She lived, the family lived in one of those half residential, half
Wait
commercial.
a second. Just a second, Karen. You mean your grandma wasn't locked up in the top room of their house on silk cushions?
No, but I mean, like, here's what my grandmother's day was like, okay? She got up. She cooked everybody breakfast. She got up before dawn because my grandfather had to be at work at dawn because he worked dawn till dusk on a paving crew, right? So, and in Alberta, in Edmonton, that can be, like, daylight hours can be over 17 hours in the summer, right? So essentially, she would get up, she would feed him, send him off to work with a lunch. She would then get the kids up, get them fed, get them off to school. She would open the store, she would run the store. She would come back at some point when she had a free moment, because they lived right attached to the store. Get a pot roast in the oven for when the kids came home for lunch because they need to eat. And so it's like, yeah, might as well put a pot roast in the oven. She'd do that and, cook a pot roast with carrots and potatoes and all of that. And that's what my mom and her brothers would eat for lunch, walking home from school for lunch. Then she would finish, working in the store, working in the post office. She would go back into the apartment and get something on for dinner, some kind of turkey or chicken or something in the oven, right? She would come back and close up the store and tally up all the totals for the day and everything. Then she would come back in. She would whip up dinner, right? She would get the kids all settled, get them, on their homework and all of that, and do the laundry and anything else that needed to be done. Then her husband would come home. My grandfather would come home after dark. She would feed him dinner. She would have a pan of warm water with Epsom salt sitting in front of his armchair for him to soak his feet because he'd been on his feet all day in the summer heat, paving roads. She would do that, and she would bring him his dinner, and he would watch a little TV or listen to the radio while he ate his dinner, and then he would go to bed. And she would be up and finish up the dishes.
Okay, so quite a bit of work. And it
was all work. She spent 20 minutes a day reading a romance novel. She was a big romance novel aficionado.
Yeah. Okay, well, first of all, she obviously wasn't, she had a lot of work to do, but I don't think she was chattel. I mean, they couldn't afford it. They would have, because you can't restrict the mobility of a woman if you rely on that mobility to actually run your household.
Oh God, no. She and my grandfather came home.
Postmistress.
My grandfather would come home, hand her his pay, and she was the one who decided where all the money went. This much goes into savings, this much goes into household expenses, this much goes into, and here's the money that's left over from your pay, so that on the weekend, if you have a day off on the weekend, you can go down to the curling rink, which was the one place in town where they actually had a sort of a bar. You can go down to the curling rink and have some beers with your buddies.
Okay, so obviously not chattel, but the thing is that
Chattel.
what's really interesting is it feels like women are chattel now. To be honest, it feels like they are political tools.
They absolutely are.
Cultivated for their inability and weakness and vulnerability.
Well, it's like we've called it victim farming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to and dependent farming. You have to, if you want to do nothing but purchase votes. You give people free stuff and you convince them that they need it.
Yeah, in this case, it's almost like, because when I listen to this, when I listen to all of this flowery bullshit, which is poison. I don't know which poison is actually sweet, if it's arsenic or cyanide, but it's poison. It's a sweet poison that they give
Fluoride.
to women and girls. Ugh, okay,
It's in the water.
I know it's in the water.
Freaking frogs, gay.
Okay, all right. I actually would argue that. You know what? I'm not getting into it. I'm
Frogs
not
are turning gay and trans.
Okay, all right. Regardless of the trans and gay pepes,
Nature finds
does that
a
make
way.
them rare pepes? Does that make them rare pepes?
No.
They're actually becoming less rare because
Okay.
homosexual and transsexual frogs are quite common nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of gay
what we need.
gay fag pepes.
Okay,
Gay
all right.
frogs swimming everywhere. Holy shit.
Okay, so but the real problem is that the gay pepes and the trans pepes are not rare. You need to keep their rare status as rares.
Pretty much it would be nice if they were rare, but they're not. Yeah. Same with the transsexual fish in the Great.
This is going to come across as like homophobic and transphobic.
No. But it's I'm just saying, Alex Jones, as much as Alex Jones is one of those guys that you read an article written by him and it's like, verifiable fact, verifiable fact, verifiable fact, verifiable fact. And then in the last two paragraphs, he puts them all together and comes out with something completely fucking insane.
All right.
The frogs are turning gay, but it's not, I don't think it's intentional.
Oh, hey,
part of the New World Order.
We got a live one in the chat. iGeneric at Zeranex. I don't know the history of HBR, but Karen, Alison are just here to capitalize off gullible, desperate men's rights activists. You're absolutely right, iGeneric. I plan to be the filthiest of filthy whores.
Yeah, I
feed
do
them.
nothing but like metaphor.
I've created.
I just suck. I metaphorically suck incel dick for money. That's what I do.
Okay, all right. I can do you better.
Incel dick. I pet them and I tell them that they're victims when they're really not. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because the best way to get money out of men is to tell them that they're victims. Yeah. Not to create a gigantic conspiracy in which they're basically the cackling evil overlords with some sort of white, long, fluffy cat in their lap, and they're in like an eyeball chair and pulling the levers and pushing the buttons and making everything happen. That's not the way to get men to give you money.
I know. Like you just can't get money out of men by pandering to their egos and their sense of power and their false belief in their elevated status within the social hierarchy, right? Because no man ever has wanted to hear how impressive and powerful and strong and all of those things he is. No. They want to hear about how they are vulnerable. They want to hear about how they can be made victims through no fault of their own and have, like the whole phenomenon of when there's like some video of some guy getting assaulted and he gets a beat down and then you see like that the 150 Reddit comments, I would have pulled out my Glock and fucking blown that guy away. Oh, I would have managed to kick that guy's ass. Oh, I would have totally been able to handle that situation, right? Those are the rare ones, the rare but vocal tiny insignificant minority of men, and the vast majority of men who are like, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to actually get out of that, and I would have got my ass kicked, and I probably would have been hospitalized. I might even still be in a coma if that was me. And it really sucks that sometimes this happens to men without them even doing anything wrong to provoke it or cause it to happen. That really fucking sucks. And I kind of feel a little nervous sometimes walking down the street, that's just kind of the way I feel about things, right? Those guys are the vast silent majority of guys out there, right? Those are the guys that somehow managed to throw me 600 and some Patreon dollars a month.
Well, you know what? Actually, I have to say to iGeneric, he says again, you are the experts at getting money out of men. Good. Because to be quite frank, if we can create a marketplace that is defined by respecting men's humanity and defending them against bullshit like patriarchy theory, if I can be the filthiest, most money-grubbing whore and build an actual honest-to-God marketplace of millions, billions of dollars, but only if the companies, if they want to suckle on that teat, the only way they can do that is by respecting men's human dignity and fighting against this bullshit like patriarchy theory. I will be the filthiest goddamn money-grubbing whore there ever was to build that fucking marketplace. Because let me tell you, once it's built, changes will be made.
All right then, you filthy whore.
I am a filthy fucking money-grubbing whore. And I guarantee I will use all of my filthy money-grubbing, man money-sucking powers to build that marketplace. Because once it's built, you know what happened when the gay men came together and created the gay dollar? You know what happened? Legislative change, social change, change in the media, change in religious organizations. The gay dollar created hard power that led to social change. So if you want to call me a money-grubbing fucking whore, I'm an expert at sucking dollars out of men, thank you.
I don't know. Like, I think it's really weird. If this guy thinks that, like, we're in it for the money, why would we be allegedly, apparently, you know, according to people like him, targeting, you know, neck-bearded losers who live in their mother's basements and have no disposable income? Like, it's like, why wouldn't we be going after? Why wouldn't I be hosting a Walk a Mile in Our Shoes event when I can get like 5 local radio stations to send their DJs out to put on the high heels and fork over money, right? I could be like really cashing in.
Okay, and iGeneric says that's all you do though. So what? If that is all I do, if all I ever do is sell the idea of a marketplace where men's human dignity is respected, and let's face it, when you respect men's human dignity, you also respect women's human dignity. If that's all I do is create a marketplace where that is the currency, that's going to actually be quite a bit, to be quite honest.
I don't know. Like, it's all I do. What? Ask for money?
No, but even if it is.
No, but no. I'm calling him on this, okay? Do you see my a link to my Patreon and my PayPal and all of those things in the low bar of all of my videos? No, you don't.
But you do see it here. Okay,
yeah, but I'm talking about me, okay? I'm talking about me here.
But he wasn't talking about you, Karen.
Yeah, well, okay, but I'm part of this fucking enterprise. I'm being accused as well as part of this fucking enterprise. I'm obviously just as in it for the money as any other honey badger, because, you know, honey badgers are only in it for the fucking money. That's right. Okay, so yeah, you go show me. Oh my goodness, I think I posted my PayPal the day I announced that, yeah, I have a PayPal. I posted it in the low bar.
But it doesn't fucking matter, Karen.
I posted my Patreon the day I said, yeah, I've got a Patreon now. I posted that in the low bar. Okay, I don't fucking do a shill at the end of every video.
But I do
that. Yeah, whatever you do, right? But if I thought that you were only in it for the money, I would not be part of this enterprise. I would not, because I'm not only in it for the money, and I'm not in it to shill and e-beg and just, you know, rake in the fucking cash. That's not why I do this, right? It's nice that the cash has made it so that I can quit my day job, fucking waiting tables, because, you know, oh my goodness, I'm making almost as much as I made as a waitress.
Yeah, well, okay, let me put it this way. I'm not raking in, and I'm not really interested in spending money. I know I sound like a really strange woman. I'm not really that interested in spending money. if it doesn't come with some sort of producing something attached to it. But it's like, I don't even see what the problem is. I could be the shysterest of all shysters. I could be the con artist of all con artists. I could be the fake of all fakes. But if I construct a marketplace, if I actually get those dollars spinning in service of men's human dignity, that will be, bar none, the one greatest thing anyone could do for men's rights and men's issues, for the recognition of men's rights and men's issues. Because let's face it, right now, we're not in a position of, we don't have a negotiating position. Right now, men are essentially begging to have their rights recognized, their issues recognized. They're going to media, they're going to the government, they're going to academia and saying, please, this is what's right, this is what's just. And that is actually begging, because it's not from a position of hard power. And the only way you can construct a position of hard power, and every civil rights movement has done this, is by developing a consumer body that will not spend money, or will only spend, or set aside a certain amount of money only in the context of respecting their human dignity. That's how it works. And if somebody creates this marketplace, it doesn't necessarily have to be me, but that is the single biggest thing that anybody could do to create hard power. Not just talk about the issues, but create the kind of hard power that can drive change. And I know everybody's like, oh my God, ew, money is gross. Well, it is what it is.
Honestly, the only people who say, ew, money is gross are the people who have never gone hunting in their couch cushions for grocery money, who have never actually stood in front of the refrigerator at the grocery store and thought, okay, do I buy milk or do I buy juice? Because I can't afford both.
So
yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Okay. No, I was to get to the back to the video, but before we do, the last thing I would say is if we were in it for the money, we'd be making videos about feminism.
Yeah, that's true.
We'd be asking normies to donate to feminist causes, and we would be making hand over fist money, and we would be able to put way less effort into it.
Well, like I said, like
it wouldn't be necessary to do this.
Anita, who is actually probably a branding and shilling genius, I will give her that. If she had experienced some of the stuff that I had experienced, she probably would have made much more, exponentially more than what she has made.
Yes.
Even regardless of that, right? She look at how much money she's pulled in.
Yeah, Zoe Quinn pulls in money for existing. She doesn't do anything.
But fucking Anita Sarkeesian is like, what, $1 million plus now?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we were in it for the money, we wouldn't be doing what's probably the hardest thing that you could sell.
If we were in it for the glory, too, right?
If I was in it for the money, I never would have tried to sell hot chocolate in the desert. I don't even know what my young self was in it for, but...
All I know is if we wanted to be, if we were in it for the money or in it for the glory, we're not getting invitations to fucking testify on panels at the UN. We're not getting invitations to spearhead, initiatives for the UN or for, any other freaking government-sponsored body that, allots a huge amount of money towards, letting us do what we want, allowing us to get our job done, right? Like, we would not be doing what we do if we were in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm in it for the challenge. I fucking love a challenge. This is bar none the hardest thing I've ever fucking done. I've had to challenge myself on all kinds of bullshit. Like, this is terrifying, to be quite honest. A lot of times this is fucking terrifying. Standing up and saying, could you please source what Muslim women being worse off than men? Could we have the discussion? Could we discuss the formula? Could we look at the evidence? That was scary. That was a scary fucking thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
To step into that and say, I don't know if I agree, because nothing has been presented.
On faith.
I am not taking things on faith. That's scary. Everything I've done in context of Honey Badger Radio has been fucking scary, There are some nights where I wake up at 3 a.m. I feel like I'm going to puke. I'm so fucking scared. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
And
Because
me,
when you're scared and you face it, you grow.
me, I'm not scared. Maybe I'm just a cunt. I don't know. But I really enjoy because I've been asked several times over the last little while, what do you do for a living? Like by a internal medicine specialist, by an ultrasound technician, by like all of these different people that I've had to, and they want to know for the records what you do for a living so they will understand your risk factors for certain things. And I say, well, I get paid to annoy all the right people on the internet. It's nice work if you can get it. It's not what my high school guidance counselor had in mind, but I like it. I find it fulfilling. I find it incredibly fulfilling.
Okay, is there anything left to this video? Because I'm getting tired of this topic.
Okay.
If I'm gonna be a filthy money grubbing whore, then I will do it in the service of men
Okay.
as much as I can.
She
All
said
right.
serviceman after saying she was a whore. Let's play the rest of this video. Can somebody please find Hillary Clinton's Horcruxes so that we can get rid of her forever?
I don't know about you, but Clinton has me feeling like.
Cast off the shackles of yesterday, shoulder to shoulder into the fray.
That Mary Poppins scene gets me every time, but I want to hear from you. What did you think of Clinton's message? Let me know
Oh
in the
God! Stop! What a soulless corporate shell.
The Mary Poppins scene with the suffragettes, who are all middle-aged, middle-class women, educated, wealthy, lots of free time on their hands, and spend it bashing men. Didn't they say in that scene something about how men can't be trusted to run politics and all of this other stuff? Because they're not as smart and as moral as women or something like that. I seem to recall something in there.
I don't know. You know what? To be honest, I think you need to stop hunting that victimhood. Humping that victimhood. Like seriously, get on with your lives.
Yeah,
It's sad, and you're also like. And what's really great is they talk about throwing off the shackles, and yet feminism turns women into shackles. That's it. Like all they do is turn women into these perfect objects to create emotional and moral shackles for men, and they take away. They verifiably, you look at the statistics. As feminism increased in power in academia, women in the STEM halved. So what feminists are teaching women is actually creating the very problems that they then turn around and say they need more feminism to deal with.
well, just like with the tampon tax in the UK. We need to recategorize tampons as a luxury item so that they can be taxed at the lowest possible rate, which is the lowest possible rate for any manufactured item that is allowable under the law. And then 10 years later, they come back and say, how dare you call these luxury items? And you're only taxing them because you consider them luxury items, and so there should be no tax on them. And it's like, what?
Okay, speaking of giving us the shackles, I think it's time to. Is there like a few seconds left? Do you think it turns around in the last 8 seconds?
Yeah, I think that she has a complete change of heart towards the end.
I think so, yeah.
Let's
Comments.
find out.
Until next time, I'm Tiffany Taylor for the Hollywood Reporter News. Shoulder to shoulder.
The cringe. Feel the cringe.
is real. Oh, I feel the cringe. It's a burn. She should do a series of fitness tapes. Cringe your way to a thin late waistline.
Oh, honestly, like my 14-year-old has been doing, my boyfriend subscribed to something called the Daily Burn, which is, a whole bunch of different exercise programs. And there are some lighter ones that would be more suitable for my 14-year-old. But they're more geared towards women. Right. And, they have easier exercises, and he would probably do much better than doing the incinerator and the sizzler and the Terminator and the all of these like super mondo, like the guy who's the instructor is like one of these perfectly chiseled men, and by the end of 20 minutes he's like sweating like crazy and his entire upper body is like bright red, right? And neither my boyfriend nor my son can actually get through an entire workout, 20 or 30-minute workout with this, but they would rather do that than listen to the pandering of the female instructors and some of the male instructors on these workouts that are geared for women. Oh, you know, you're so worth it. You know, you deserve this. You deserve to look after your health. You know, you're the most important thing in your life. And, you know, you really owe it to yourself and blah, blah, blah. And you're doing great.
Ugh. I know, it's so fatuous.
Ugh.
Okay. I think this is a good time to, trot out the filthy money-grubbing whore that I am, as it were.
Oh, Alison, you speak in my language.
Yeah, I know I would be, definitely. Okay,
Make it sexy. Make it sexy.
I can't make it I'm not the sexy one. Okay, so we're being played. Now, this is listening to this Hillary speech. It's like you listen to it and you're like, there's something going on here. There's something deeper going on. And I talked about in a previous video about ideological conflicts and how government uses them, incites them to assist in ruling and justifying its rulership. And what I see here is that there's this kind of ideological or class conflict being incited between men and women. And I do not know the end game, but I sense that I don't think anybody's going to like it. And then have Hillary sort of address us, or address the American public like she is the rightful president or the lawful empress or whatever the hell, calling her troops to battle. And for what? We're being used, both men and women alike, to some end. And I am tired of being treated like a tool or a pawn in someone else's narrative. Our current regime is setting men and women against each other, and for what? What is the end goal of this, aside from subjugating both to a system of control, making both men and women the butt of a gigantic cosmic governmental joke? And personally, I want out. I'm staging a prison break for everyone else who wants out too. Let's get the fuck out of Dodge. I'm tired of being manipulated and lied to. I'm tired of being made a victim when I'm not. And I'm sure men are tired of being made villains when they are not, for political ends that do not serve any one of us. And if you want to come with, or if you want to help build this into the biggest fucking prison break in human history, go to www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio and feed the filthy, money-grubbing, man-exploiting whore that I am. Thanks.
That's right.